To go live.
Awesome.
And we're live. And we're live. Hi, guys. Welcome to the second xoJane Google Hangout. Today, the topic is relationships. We have Olivia Hall moderating. We have Matt Schneiderman as our token guy. Matt was referred to us by one of our commenters and contributors, Kristen. You might know her as ATY Single. We have Mandy Statmiller, our deputy editor, and we have Annie Craigbaum, who is the senior beauty editor of xoJane. And we have me. I'm the social and community manager of xoJane. So let's get started, Olivia.
Hey. Well, people need to ask questions on
I'll tweet
Google
right now,
page.
too.
Well, we also have a bunch from the
Post.
Yeah, from the post.
Oh,
Can you guys,
Olivia.
can you guys see video of Matt?
Olivia Hall moderating. I can't.
Okay, now I can. Okay.
Guy. Matt was referred to us by one of our commenters and contributors.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to start off with Double H, which is an awesome name. She asked, I'd like if you talked more about how women can/do deal with the desire for novelty, a brand spanking new partner, when in a monogamous relationship. You have some amazing articles on the topic, and I'd love some more insight. I think this is towards Mandy specifically, but, you know, introducing more kink into the bedroom, I would think.
Well, I am a big fan of this game called Let's Play Doctor that you can buy off of Amazon, or you can get at Babeland. And you like spin the thing, and then it tells you different like roles to play. Some of them are kind of fucked up, like I think like animal or something. So I guess that's for like Furbies or furries or whatever that is.
Furbies.
But some of them are just kind of silly and kinky and fun. And I feel like a lot of times things can be like, ha ha, funny, but then it can actually turn into something kind of hot. So yeah, I would recommend that as a way to kind of spice things up.
That sounds cool. One point on the furry thing for the animal card, sometimes you'd be surprised. Some people just have like a little bit of a kink for some animal. I had a friend in college who was just into horses. She didn't know why, but like when guys kind of would whinny in bed or neigh a little bit, it really did it for her. Mm-hmm.
Huh, that's interesting.
Just putting it out there.
Let's ask our token male if he has any suggestions.
Yeah.
The game sounds good. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You look like you're in space, like in a closet in space.
Close. I'm at Condé Nast, publisher of The New Yorker, which feels like space sometimes.
That's awesome. Wow. And so are you actually single? I'm not hitting on you, by the way.
I am single, which is, I think, part of why the question is how to introduce kink into the bedroom. I'm just happy to get into the bedroom.
Oh, Matt.
No, not in a bad way, but you know, if you're with somebody a long time, I think that's when you're going to want to try to introduce new things. And my experience has been that I've been with folks for shorter periods of time than would allow for me to suggest that we get into toys.
Wait, so what's the longest relationship you've been in, Matt?
Just 9 months.
9 months. And was it long enough to get her pregnant, or was that just a...
I certainly tried, but no,
Okay.
It didn't end up with any babies.
I want to ask Olivia and Annie as well, because I just feel like they're, I have this theory that they know how to have sex. Anyway, go ahead. Annie, how do you spice it up?
She's just...
Is she
can't hear what
talking?
we can't hear you, Annie. We can't hear
so I guess Annie is saying like you just kind of like mime, and then that
just move your lips, like looking really hot. We can't hear you. You have to unmute it, honey. I would say...
Can you hear me? Yes. Cool. So what do you do?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just try to look hot, and then that's like a major turn on for dudes.
That's why it's so much better to fuck a chick who's not as hot as Annie, because they try so much harder. Annie's all just like, I'm hot. Did you check this out? Right? Is that what you do in bed, Annie?
No, but the other night I was wearing like his box or like his like little undies or whatever, and like a t-shirt and heels and these big hoop earrings. And that was like a real big turn on.
Did he
like
actually
wearing his clothes? I don't know. It was weird.
Wait, you know what? I'm really dirty and I make really dirty jokes, and I don't want to like get all of the, you know, I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So maybe I shouldn't make. Maybe we should have had a talk about.
Yeah, I think we probably should have. Let's not bring up anything about me.
Just don't, if you don't want to talk about something in your life, just don't talk about it. Like, keep it more general.
No, definitely. But, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I just meant like, I was just thinking of editing questions recently where we were looking at a story and we were talking about whether or not to keep in a line regarding something graphic. And so I was thinking that I might take it too far and I didn't want to do that. So that's all. And Olivia, what advice do you have for being wild and exciting?
For being wild and exciting?
Your makeup looks really good, by the way.
It's her job.
It's my job.
Yeah.
Literally.
I don't know. I think that, I mean, I guess I want to be like all serious about it, but like, you know, communication is like key. And if you like want something, you should probably like ask for it before you like go for it, especially if you're like, I don't know, like want to put it in somebody's butt, or if you want to like smack somebody in the face or whatever. Like that's something that like people always get like super, I would say like angry because when people suggest that, because it's kind of like, oh, like you're going to ruin the moment, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I feel like asking for that stuff is like totally, I don't know, legit. Isn't that what she's asking? Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too, but I think it's important to try to talk about that stuff when you're not having sex, like having another discussion afterwards.
Like
about
when you're,
it.
like
Really?
when you're meeting the parents for the first time, you can kind of bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's important to, like, something that I recommend is after you have sex, talking about it and talking about what your favorite part was.
Actually, that's I think actually that's kind of a cool idea. Yeah, that's a really
Like
good.
you're grading each
Like,
other?
no, but when you're snuggling, Marcy, Robin, everyone, when you're snuggling, just be like, what was your favorite part?
Yeah.
And like, oh, that was really great. Just like, you know, have a little conversation about it.
I mean, can I ask, like, token dude, like, what would you think if, like, some woman was, like, that you were sleeping with, if they were like, oh, like, do you want to put it in my butt? Like, that would be awesome for you, right?
That would be great. And just to sort of follow up, I think it would be best to have this conversation while it's going on, actually. I think that's when it's hottest, is when we have the request just as it's happening. After the fact, I'm ready to, you know, take a nap. So it's fine if we're going to do a little bit of a, you know, a review of what went on. But it's in the moment that things can sort of get hottest. I would love to hear like requests as we're making out or whatever, just to be told exactly what to do. I'd love to be told what to do.
Wow.
See, that's the secret. All dudes just want to be told what to do, right? Mm-hmm. Not that we're talking.
I have to say that that's my favorite thing in a guy is if a guy knows how to read me sexually. Like, I don't want to fucking tell a guy what to do. You know what I mean? So I say an advantage to men out there is to be able to kind of have intuition and be able to read someone. You know what I mean?
I agree to an extent, but nobody's going to read into a moan that you want to be slapped. I mean, that's the kind of thing that really needs to be verbalized.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I just meant a guy could like ask, you know what I mean? And could say, you know, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like a negotiation. It's like a job interview. You know what I mean? So like in a job interview, you probably, you know, wouldn't just say, hey, I'm going to put it in your butt. You know what I mean? Like it would be more like a escalation.
That would be a great interview question, actually.
That was what my first interview question was here
wow.
at xoJane, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, next question. Moving on. So let's get out of the bedroom for a second and get to actual like relationships, which is like, you know, not as fun, but important. What are some sort of dating red flags or relationship red flags that are like, I hate saying like deal breakers because I think that deal is never broken really except for like, you know, restraining orders or like, you know, really bad stuff. But what are some Hitler mustaches?
Sorry.
What are some things that that are dating red flags that happen that you see and you're like, oh yeah, like not calling this person back, never returning those texts, get out of my life forever. Mandy, you had your hand up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think that the biggest one that I never used to be aware of is that when a guy makes you ask him out, you know what I mean? Or when a guy makes you try and show him, you know, like makes you the aggressor, where he gives hints about he wants to see you, but doesn't actually kind of, you know, doesn't go for it. So that's all I had to say. But I'm getting resistance from our token male, Matt. You're making a face. What do you think, Matt?
I guess I want a little more context for the question. Where are the red flags? You know, anytime that somebody has to have a talk, I think is when things are off the rails for me. I like when things are happening naturally without having to dissect it.
What about Madeline and Annie? Because you guys both have boyfriends.
Well, I guess there weren't any red flags when I was dating my boyfriend. But in the past, I guess one time it was a dating red flag when I was dating someone and I told him that I was Catholic and that like I wasn't actually, he thought I was the WASP, I guess. And I told him that I was Catholic and he's like, wait, you're not a WASP, you're Catholic. And I was like, all right, red flag. So that's one.
I don't know. I prefer shitheads, so I mean, like, red flags are like a turn on for me.
Oh boy, that's awesome. Once I went on a date with a dude, and he what?
No, finish your thought, Annie.
I'm not saying that this guy's a shithead because he's not, but I mean, like, I dated a dude that lived in a van. Sometimes you just got to get that out of your system. And just because you think something's a red flag doesn't mean that you should just, like, run away. I don't know. I think that that's kind of, like, a red flag is, like, a silly concept.
We just got a really awesome question.
Great.
I think it's something that a lot of people suffer from. I just broke up with my boyfriend. How do I stop reaching out at him at vulnerable moments? Team?
So delete his number. Delete it.
It never works.
Yes, it does. Delete his number. Delete his Facebook. Delete his Facebook. Facebook if you have to. Facebooks and look at him. And I think there's an app for it. I don't know what it is, but there's some drunk dialing app that you can get. Look into drunk dialing apps if that's a problem for you.
Wasn't that his app on Girls?
Yeah, it was.
That was a joke on Girls.
It's a real thing. Get one of those.
People are cutting out for me too, so I don't know what it is.
What about you, our token male?
Oh, token.
Matt.
I would say that there is very little. I would say count days off of this person. Like rather than saying never, just say not for X amount of days and just try to get through one day at a time. You know, every time the impulse to call or text or Facebook message comes, just say, okay, I will give myself 24 hours. That's gotten me through a lot of breakups and awkward situations that I didn't want to, you know, continue to talk to this person for.
What about you, Annie?
I think I do this all the time. Just because, like, I feel like I care about the person. I want to know how they're doing and, like, whatever. I Before, though, it was more of like, oh, I need it. I need to talk to them. And I think I just had to, like, realize that, like, they're probably thinking the same thing. They probably want to contact me, too. And it's important just to keep living your life and not, you know, my whole thing was, like, oh, they're probably off, like, hanging out with girls and doing cool shit. But then I had to remember, like, what are you doing right now? Like, who says that he's not, like, doing the same thing? You know what I mean? Like, you just have to, like, live your life, like, keep on going down your path, go out with friends, do whatever you need to do to stay occupied, and, like, realize that they're not going out and having a better time than you. That was, like, my biggest struggle, is, like, worrying about them boning other girls, pretty much.
Also, what I do is that I will, like, write the text message that I want to send the ex, and I'll, like, send it to, like, a trusted friend instead. Like, I do that all the time. Like, I'll send them exactly what I was going to write, and, like, they know, I mean, hopefully, that it, you know, that this was not meant for them, and that they're just being, like, a receptacle for my crazy for a moment, and that always works. And then they always write back, like, good thing you didn't send that to the other person because you sound fucking nuts, and it, like, always is great.
I love that idea. Sometimes you just
really
gotta get it out of your system. Yeah, you gotta lean on your friends. Also, keeping busy, like, start doing something new, get a new hobby, like, start a really good book, read Gone Girl or something. Really like that.
I just started reading that.
So good.
Or work out. It's good to, like,
You
stay.
gotta work out. There's no way you can go through a breakup without exercising.
Because you have to feel good about yourself.
Worst. Eat ice cream and, like,
You have to fucking exercise. I'm not saying for fat reasons. I'm saying for, like, that's the only way I have ever gotten through a breakup is by going to the gym.
You'll feel better about yourself. It's not about, like, oh, you need to, like, look hot. It's just like you will feel better about yourself.
And you'll clear your mind. Your mind will stop racing, which is important.
Pick up smoking. Smoking's really good for breakups.
Start doing drugs.
I've heard that, like, heroin is really good.
Yeah, it's very numbing.
All right, we're going to keep going.
Okay.
Actually, I have one last piece of advice.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I would just say to go out on as many dates as you can, you know? Like, definitely understand sooner than later that there are other guys out there, or women.
Can you guys hear me, or am I cutting out again?
You sound good.
Okay, cool. I would also, I think that's great advice, Matt, and I would also say that the dating service, How About We, is really great for that, because you can just do kind of, like, quick, spontaneous, you know, it doesn't even have to be like a date. You could just say, how about we go to the Met, and then you meet someone up for that. And yeah, I think dating is a numbers game, and it's like the same thing with jobs. Like, if you don't ever apply, you're probably not going to find, you know, that one that you like. And if you don't go on a lot of dates, you know, statistically, it's just going to be hard to, you know, meet the right person. And I also just this week joined for the second time OkCupid, which I had been on once before and wasn't really that into it. And it's, I mean, I think just having, like, for me, like, feeling like I'm desired by men who exist on the planet can help me, like, not obsess over one particular person. And so, like, when you know, join one of those sites and you're getting inquiries, like, even if it's not, you know, even if the person who's saying, hey, do you want to meet up, isn't, like, some guy that you'd actually want to date, it just kind of, I feel like, takes your mind off of things and diffuses the tendency to obsess over one particular person.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right, moving on. How would you handle / help friends who are in a bad breakup? Does everyone feel comfortable in supporting in the supporting friend role, or does it make you feel uncomfortable? Does that make sense?
I love doing it because I think I'm very codependent, and I feel like maybe someone will finally love me if I love them enough. So I like that kind of dysfunctional shit. But other people who have healthy boundaries, I think, probably get annoyed of emotionally vampiric people.
That was really eloquent.
Oh, thank you.
I don't think you can call yourself a friend to someone if you're not going to be there for them 100% when they have a breakup. But then again, you do have to draw the line somewhere. Like, you can't just, be their lifeline a ton of the time. But, like, you need, like, in the early days of a really bad breakup, don't call someone your good friend if you're not going to be there for them.
Yeah, that reminds me of, I forget where I read this, but someone said, like, the way you can distinguish between, like, a friend and a, acquaintance or someone who's just more, a fair weather friend is, who would you reach out to if something really bad happened? Would they take the call, or would they think, oh, this is a drag, this person's always having a crisis, And it's interesting to think about, like, your friends that way. So, Annie, were you going to say something? I think I totally interrupted you.
No, I mean, I'm always the one that's breaking up. I'm not. I've never had a friend like go through like a terrible breakup or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I have one of my best friends. She and I have both been through really terrible breakups while the other one's in a relationship. So that's always an interesting dynamic. And, even if you're in like a really great and loving relationship, don't let that make you feel guilty or whatever. Just be there for them. I think the most important thing is just like being a listening ear and just spending time with that person and just helping them get through it, because breakups are about time and they need someone to pass the time with, and you should make yourself available to be with them to pass the time.
Also, there's a really good book, Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts, which is like, it's like kind of really silly, but it's all about just, kind of romancing yourself. And that if you take the time to, buy yourself gifts and like do bubble baths and all that stuff, that you will be like exuding that kind of magnetic confidence, which usually leads to people being interested.
Matt, do you have anything to add about being a good friend?
Yeah, I would say that don't go to your good male friends when you've broken up with somebody.
Oh, you mean you mean as a woman, because it gives like mixed signals or something?
It's not even a matter of mixed signals, but if your friend has any feelings about you, he might try to take advantage of the situation. And if he doesn't have feelings for you, then you're just going to be asking him for advice that's not necessarily going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one. I just found another one that was kind of interesting. Where is it? Here's my question. Is it weird not to enjoy kissing all that much? It's just never been my thing, even with my husband. I'm very affectionate otherwise. I just prefer a brief kiss instead of all kinds of tongue action. Anybody? Any takers on that one?
I absolutely love kissing, so I don't think I'm a good, I mean, I think we all have our shit, so, I mean, the person may not know how to kiss, you know what I mean? Like, they may I mean, they might, I mean, I'm 3 years sober today, so I'm not advocating drugs and alcohol, but the person may just need to like drop acid and like go to a sex club or something. You know what I mean?
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful, man.
I don't think
Nobody should drop acid and go to a sex club. Ooh.
Okay, so what's a better? I just mean like, like get stoned and go down to New Orleans and like loosen up or something,
New Orleans.
No, can I actually give some advice? Okay. Okay. It sounds like kissing's not your favorite. It's the difference. Are you repulsed by kissing?
Right.
If you're not repulsed by kissing and your partner likes kissing, you have to kiss your partner a little bit. If it's not what turns you on and you need other stuff to turn you on, like when you're, doing foreplay or whatever, let your partner know that you're going to need something else. This is what turns me on actually when we're getting ready to have sex. But if kissing is what turns your partner on and you're not totally repulsed by it and it's important for your husband, that you kiss a little bit. You don't have to make out for hours, but
that's actually that's a really good answer, Madeline.
That's what you have a boyfriend, and me and Mandy.
That's what Dan Savage would say. No, I got that answer because I listened to Dan Savage a lot, and that's what Dan Savage would say.
That's a good answer.
She said husband though, right?
Yeah.
Husband, yeah.
I mean, that brings up two issues for me. One being is that if they've never had a good kissing relationship, then is it something that changed? Like I said, I mean, it seems a little odd that they could have gotten to second base if kissing was something that she wasn't into in the first place. For me, not wanting to kiss somebody was usually related to my not being interested in them. You know, it's like almost more intimate than sex. Sex is almost mechanical to a certain degree for me, whereas like kissing is something that I really want to do with somebody whose company I enjoy. I don't know, maybe that sounds silly, but
so what's your advice for this person who has the question then?
Divorce.
No.
I just, the other thing being is that I'm surprised her husband would be disappointed in having to move directly to sex instead of 2 hours of making out. So maybe they're compatible. They just skip the kissing.
And also, you know, there are there's this woman, I'm actually not really a fan of her, but she's the only one I can think of. There's this woman, Dr. Laura Berman, who is like a, you know, sex, love, relationship muse kind of person. And there are different kind of like couples, like sexual therapists or coaches. And, you know, I mean, that might be something to explore, you know, because there's marriage counseling, but then there's also, you know, if you needed to kind of like work through something, you could do that in like a clinical environment, you know, where you were just kind of like learning more about each other and how you respond, you know. Also seeing the movie Kinsey is kind of cool. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but like that movie's kind of neat how they grew to be more comfortable with one another.
Okay. Any more? I'm gonna look about, okay, I've got another one. It's really long, hold on. I'm reading it so we know that it's not, you know, X-rated, which would be okay. Okay, I'm not even reading it. About 5 weeks ago, my ex from 4 years ago started messaging me out of the blue about inane things. He got a new record player, he's excited about some new movies, and it doesn't go anywhere. After daily messages, many a day, I decide to ask him to hang out in person. Our first hangout, he shows up with a group of people, bails with them after dinner to go watch a movie with them. He apologizes profusely, and we reminisce. I give him a second chance, and the next day he brings the same group of people along. I tell him he's basically shitty, and he apologizes. He continues to text every other day about random crap. I got drunk last night and told him, why the F is it so hard to get you alone? I'm into you and you are not respecting me. I deserve 1,000 times the attention and has been dedicating to getting acquainted. You're better than this. You can do better than this. So now we're potentially hanging out every day. Why the hell would he get back in touch if all he wants to do is text me every day? He's a goddamn 26-year-old man. We're not teens.
That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. He sounds like a dick, and you should just like stop hanging out with him because he's not. He just wants attention, and he knows that he can get it from you.
You know, I have a thought about this, which is that a friend of mine has a theory so that you don't obsess over one person. And she says that every woman should have a main, like a main guy, a junior boyfriend, and an alternate. and that's like the secret magical formula. And you don't even need to be physical or intimate with the junior boyfriend or the alternate, but you can just use them for kind of like emotional juice or feeling like you're getting attention, so that you don't like alienate someone with all of your, you know, attentions. And it almost sounds like this guy is using her as an alternate or a junior girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like he's using the juice from that to kind of just, you know, I mean, she's looking him as something, as a serious prospect, and he clearly through his actions doesn't give a shit about her, you know? Or enjoys her, but you know, to me, it took me a really long time to realize that words and texts mean nothing. It's all about someone's actions, you know, and his actions are showing again and again, I'm bringing along other friends. I'm not making time to be with you alone. So, I mean, as cheesy as it is and as kind of douchey as Greg Bernhardt is, you know, he's not that into you, does have some good kind of nuggets in there. So those are my thoughts. Madeline?
Hear the entire question, but
oh, it's okay. We got it covered. Yeah.
He's just not that into you is a good book, though.
Yeah.
It saves you a lot of time.
Yep. Should we do one more question?
There was an article in Fast Company the other day, or like Fast Code Design.
Does anyone have a question?
Basically comparing
Olivia, you're muted.
fish to insane fun. As like,
You.
Am I muted?
Do you want to G-chat me the question and I'll read it?
It's Jane Pratt, you guys. Jane Pratt. Jane Pratt.
I have notes from therapy.
She has notes from therapy on her hands.
Say balance.
They say balance, not about rigor. Rigor. That can definitely apply to our conversation about
Can it?
relationships. Yeah.
Oh, good. Awesome. Yay! It's a nice one. Okay. I don't really know how this works, so I don't really know.
Actually, I wonder if Matt has a question for all of us, or if one of us has a question for him, since it was fun to have him as a guest during this call. Do you have a question for any of us, Matt?
Well, I guess I could use some advice. I was seeing somebody for a few weeks, pretty much as sort of like a friendly, like sex buddy thing, and then one date she didn't confirm, like via text, and I didn't hear from her for a few days. So I checked in again and asked, you know, hey, what's up? I haven't heard from you. And she just texted back to say she was alive. So I assume that meant she felt bad for dropping off the planet, but does that invite me to clarify, or should I just move on?
I mean, if it's worth it to you just to text her back and be like, well, you know, let me know if you want to get together soon, then that kind of leaves it open, leaves the ball in her court, and that'll answer your question if she responds and says she wants to hang out, you know?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the best like advice for relationships again and again and again and again is just to not make things a big deal and to not overthink it and to be in the moment. You know what I mean? Like if you want to text her, text her. Like she may just say, you know, hey, I'm not really into it, which is painful, but like the thing is, like, we've all been rejected, and I think that the more you put yourself out there, like, the bigger the rewards are. You know what I mean? So I just always say to go for it unless your gut is telling you that it's, like, a bad idea, where you know what the signals are. Like, you know, if it's a case where someone says, I don't want to see you, and then you still are, you know, texting or whatever, which I think everyone has done that too. That is kind of like, it's probably better not to do that and to email a friend. But I say just always go for it. You know what I mean? Like, go big or go home. Like, what's the Wayne Gretzky quote that I used in an article I did? You can't.
Oh, you won't miss every shot you take or something?
Yeah, you'll miss 100% of the shots that you never
don't take.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, I owe Olivia big time. I wouldn't have met my boyfriend. I wouldn't be with my boyfriend if Olivia hadn't encouraged me to get his number after I met him through one of her friends at a bar one night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, this guy's so cute, but, we're all going separate ways. Oh, well, so cute. Oh, well. Like, that's that.
No.
And Olivia's like, get his number.
That's right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? That's like, I think that's like a huge thing that people don't give enough credit to, which is what kind of pisses me off about this girl that Matt is talking about, is that because it's just like, she obviously is, I don't know, I hate that stuff where it's like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just kind of like not being forward, and I don't think that people need to necessarily say like, oh, like, I want you inside me. But I think that to say like, oh yeah, like, I couldn't get back to you because I had to, I was working, or like being like, oh, like, I just don't think I can ever see you again, is like really important. And especially when you do like somebody, to be able to just say like, hey, like, I had really fun, like good time last night. Like, do you want to get drinks together? Something like that. I don't know. I think that there's something to be said, and I think that's way more attractive to be able to like be forward with somebody than it is to just like kind of be coy and like cute or whatever, because like that just gets old so fast. Like, do you really want to like chill with somebody like long term who's going to be like, you're going to be like, oh, like, what do you want to get for dinner? And they're like, oh, I don't know, stuff, like that's such bullshit. I don't know. Maybe some people are into, maybe some people are really into like talking in poetry or whatever, but like those people are probably going to die alone.
Yeah, I think that I honestly think that like just the less games, the better. I mean, whatever. Like, it's still, there's still obviously always going to be that kind of dynamic at work. But I think that kind of what she did, I'm not a fan of. Like, if she's not into you, then I think I would have had a lot more respect for her to just say that, rather than, it seems a little passive aggressive to me, All
right, one last question. From a very, very, very special person. How do I deal with an ex that hits you up all the time when you don't want to be mean, but like they need to not do that? Like, how do you deal with an ex, like, if you're in a relationship already and, like, your ex is, like, all over your nuts and, like, it's making you uncomfortable, you're, like, not into it anymore, like, it's lost its novelty. What do you do?
That's a good question.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, your ex, like, is still trying to contact you and you're with somebody new?
Yeah, and you're, like, you don't want them to contact you anymore.
He's a bugaboo.
You learned that word this morning.
I didn't learn the word. I just had a realization that they were talking about, like, an intense stalker.
You're the weirdo.
Somebody was stalking Beyonce, and she had to write that.
All right. Any advice?
I have advice, which is just to say, like, just to be direct about what's going on, and just to, express your boundaries and your comfort level. And sometimes that can be hard to do, I think. And a technique that I like that applies to this situation, but to any situation in general, is, I think it's like I think I might have read about it in some like Harvard Business School summary, but it's called the sandwich principle, which is like you sandwich something difficult in between two positives, so that you don't come across maybe as like harsh as you're afraid of coming across. So you might just say, listen, you'll always be special to me. And, you really mean a lot to me. And when I think about you, it makes me happy. But I have to be honest that this isn't healthy for me to be hearing from you, but I want you to know that all of those positive feelings like won't go away. So you kind of sandwich so that it's not just like, hey, stop calling me. You know what I mean? And also you can always like deflect the blame. You know what I mean? You can just say, hey, my therapist told me, and then he can be annoyed at your therapist. You know, my therapist told me that I can't be hearing from you, you know? So I think it kind of depends on how you want to play it, but I think there's always a way out of almost anything if you can be creative enough in the way that you express it. I think an interesting thing is that a lot of people aren't aware that they actually enjoy the chaos and the drama of having a problem like that. You know what I mean? Myself included. Like, I think a lot of times when I hear myself bitching about something, I have had friends point out, just being like, oh, you love it. You know, it's like that scene in Mad Men when, who's the hot one with the red hair and the boobs? What's her name?
Joan.
Yeah, Joan. Joan is talking to Sterling or whatever, and this is like early on, and he says, oh, if we were a legitimate couple, we wouldn't have to sneak around. And she says, that's like your favorite part. You know, I know men as well as you know advertising, and that's your favorite part, you know. So sometimes looking at like some of the subconscious dynamics can be an interesting thing to do too.
What's Matt's perspective on this?
Oh, it's hard for me to speak from experience because usually my exes have no reason to be in touch with me, but I would say that, you know, whether it be from an ex-boyfriend or somebody you hardly know, like if you are responding, if you're giving them an in, then they'll just keep taking that opportunity to continue to, I mean, eventually get to the point where they're hassling you, you know? I mean, I think telling them up front very plainly that you don't want to be in touch anymore is the first and last step. You know, after that, just there can't be any response. You can't let this person be given an in or a text to write back. Let them be the last one to contact you, and then that be it.
Yeah, you know, it takes that's a good piece of advice. It takes two people to tango, you know, yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice.
All right. Well, I think our time is up. Right?
Yep.
Should we give one final line of relationship advice, like from everyone, just to end it?
Yeah, let's do it. Mine is to be yourself, and if you, like in your gut, feel really attracted to someone and they're available, to go for it and put yourself out there. Because that's how I met my boyfriend of a 1.5 years, who I love very much.
That's great. What's yours, Olivia?
Use a condom.
Matt?
Ask him out. You know, don't let him make all the first or second or third moves.
Oh, that's my piece of advice. Wait, always go on a second date. That's a new one. That's a new one. Unless they're actually trying to kill you, always go on a second date.
And I guess mine would be to really communicate, you know, from the get-go, because like life is short and there's no harm in saying, you know, anything from I'm looking for the next relationship I have to be, you know, marriage, to I'm looking to just really kind of have like a friend with benefits. Because you'll be surprised at like how much clarity you can get when two people are just honest with each other and drop the games. It can be really, really fun. Yeah, that's my advice.
I totally agree with Matt. I think that as girls, we kind of grew up thinking that we should wait for a guy to like come and ask us out or whatever, but I found since I was like probably like 19 when I first started living up here. My first boyfriend up here, I like was totally eye-fucking him, and made him come over. You know, he did come over to me. Well, whatever. But I'm just saying, like recently, like I texted a dude, sleep over tonight. You know, it's just like you make the first move. If that, because guys are stupid, and guys like they could be totally attracted to you all night long and want to ask you out, but they're probably scared. And if you want it, then tell them that.
I agree. Dudes are scared. Dudes are so scared.
So scared. They're terrified.
But they don't get that, like, if you're attracted to them and they're attracted to you, they don't get that, like, oh, I should ask her out. Like, sometimes guys don't get that. So just do it. I got my boyfriend's number, and I waited a day, and I said, hey, Matt, this is Madeline from Friday Night. I got your number from Ryan. This is forward, but you want to grab a drink sometime?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Olivia helped me draft the text message.
Hey, Annie, can you demonstrate us the look with your eyes that you gave?
I fuck the audience, please.
Would you do that?
I can't. I have to have like a really hot dude. It's not. I can't turn. It's very like animalistic. Like,
what if I like hold up a photo of like?
Hold up a photo, Madeline.
You have a photo of your boyfriend on your desk. I could go grab it.
Somebody put dog show on acid on.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up.
Wait, here's a photo of me and Corinne. Could you
Absolutely not.
All right, children. You all have jobs to do. I hope this was fun. And thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah,
thank you, Matt. You were awesome.
Oh, thanks. It was my pleasure.
You're way smarter than us with relationship stuff. Just kidding. We're all single.
I think it was good to have a dude's perspective for sure.
Yeah. And Matt, write about us in the New Yorker. Write about how hot we all are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's easy. Just do it.
Next week's issue.
Okay. Awesome.
Great.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Love you guys. Thanks for coming.